From the subreddit TooAfraidToAsk. Why is socially acceptable to judge someone for smoking, but not for being obese? People are judged for both. Overtly. In the US and most Western countries, it's considered impolite to comment on another's body, so most comments are whispers or looks or jokes, but certainly folks are shamed for obesity just as they are for smoking. People judge everyone for everything, honestly. And here in the US, there are plenty of smokers who criticize fat people, even though they are also doing something unhealthy. It's all about thinking you let way is the right way. People need to mind their business. Where is it not socialist acceptable to judge people who are obese? Every single obese person I have met have received abuse for their obesity. I don't judge badly of anyone that smokes. I just don't want to be around that god-awful smell. At least vape doesn't stink as bad, but I still don't want to be around that. I dislike the smoke because it smells terrible. Fat people just exist and I don't mind. If you think obese people aren't being judged, you haven't been on Reddit very long. It is where I'm at. That's one reason that I lost weight. I got tired of people telling me how I was gonna die young, and got tired of being fat and tired lol. I just don't see a difference between inhaling a cancerous organ rotting, flesh mummifying poison spewing fog machine and spewing out the noxious fumes in public, where everyone else is exposed to and has to smell it, and, say, some son of a fucking bitch existing with more adipose than I personally like. My boss sits in an office across from me, is obese, and doesn't bother me. My coworkers take their smoke breaks outside my window and I have to smell that shit all day. Obese people are judged on a daily basis. If you stand next to an obese person, it's very unlikely that you will inhale their fat, unless they are very messy eaters. Really, it's not polite to do either. I don't think it should be socially acceptable to judge anyone for their life decisions unless it's affecting others. The only time you should judge a stranger for smoking is if they are doing it in a crowded public area, which is a douchebag thing to do. If an obese person is eating unhealthy foods in public, who TF are we to judge? You scared you might accidentally collect calories if you walk by. It's not affecting anyone else in any way. Just let the person enjoy their food in peace. Because someone else being fat doesn't affect me. I can't die from secondhand obesity. I don't know where you live, but from where I am, obese people getting judged harshly daily. Well, there's no direct impact on someone you're next to when you're obese unless you are literally in your space. Smokers are typically stinking up the place and all around them. Secondhand smoking is a thing. And #X200B, secondhand obesity is not. It's socially acceptable to criticize others' behaviors, not their looks. The act of smoking is criticized, not the appearance. Obesity is a symptom, not an action. Now, if you want to criticize someone pigging out in public, making a mess, and throwing food in others' faces, then you would have a decent comparison to smoking. Only in the US really. In Europe we know smoking is bad, but other things are bad too. With any vice, as long as you don't do it too much, just enjoy your life. Reddit and /r/fat people hate, name a more iconic duo. Because other people's obesity doesn't pose a risk to everyone else's health. Smoking does. I know this won't go far, but people don't have the right to judge anyone else. It's not our place to judge each other. I know I have good and bad habits, and I would bet, see, there's one most other people do too. Stop worrying about what other people are doing and just try and be your best self. My fatness won't make you sick. What? It's not socially acceptable? I missed that memo. Because smoking directly affects people around. Secondhand smoking can be as harmful as the first-hand one, if not more. Someone being obese doesn't affect random people's health. Because smoking affects everyone exposed to it, and someone else being obese is none of your fucking business. Obese people are minding their own business, they're not disturbing anyone. Smokers would be fine too if there was a device to redirect the smoke directly to their butthole. I have been overweight, not obese, and I also used to smoke. I received far more abuse for my weight than smoking. In fact, thinking about it, I can't remember ever receiving abuse for smoking, yet the amount of times random strangers felt the need to comment on my weight is countless. I was never even overweight enough to wear plus-size clothing, so God knows how much abuse people get who are actually obese. A complete stranger came up behind me and whispered fatty in my ear once. Because if a smoker is near you, they force you to secondhand smoke. If an obese person is near you, they don't force you to secondhand eat. Not only is everyone judged for everything. You need food to survive, you do not need tobacco to survive. I feel the same way. I made a similar post but with drugs and obesity. I don't know where you live, but it's the other way around in every place I know. But being obese is not necessarily someone's own choice, smoking is. People are more comfortable criticizing a behavior/habit than they are someone's appearance. Generally, if it's something that can't be changed in the next couple of minutes, it's impolite to comment on it. You can put out a cigarette or go outside to smoke, and then come back and socialize. You can't suddenly stop being obese when someone makes a cruel judgment. That being said, it still happens all the time to people who are obese and to people who smoke. You can cut cigarettes cold turkey, you can't cut clean from food. People are heavily judged for both, and it's pretty disgusting on both counts. It depends where you are. In the UK and Europe, a lot of people smoke, so it usually isn't judged upon. I smoke and I shame people for shaming me for smoking. It is not socially acceptable around me, let me tell you. Someone else being fat isn't harmful to me, so I don't give a shit. Die of diabetes for all I care. Why don't we just leave others to their business when it doesn't harm others? I can understand not liking smokers, but I'm over fat shaming. It's a lot easier to quit smoking altogether than it is to quit eating. I smoke and I accept my failings, but you best believe if you are fat and telling me I shouldn't smoke, you will get a rebuttal. I think each to their own. Life is short, so do what you like doing, but don't be a shorty person and judge others failing to make you feel better about your own. I judge both. I used to smoke, now I'm just fat. Only at 230 pounds, but that's 30 over where I'm comfortable at. You get secondhand smoke, you can't get secondhand fat. There are many reasons someone may be overweight or struggle with weight. And a great many of those reasons are completely out of their control. The same can't be said for smokers. I've never felt judged for smoking, but I sure have seen a lot of fat shaming, so because smoking affects those around you. Being obese really only affects yourself. Like if you weigh 400 pounds but can move around and live on your own, then that person is only affecting themselves. If you blow smoke in my face, especially if it keeps happening, you could put me at higher chance of getting lung cancer or something. You say this as if people don't casually make fun of obese people every day. Smoking around other people can affect their health as well. Being obese only affects the obese person's health. Could be part of it. Sometimes obesity is related to health issues/medication/unrelated conditions, but smoking is simply a personal choice. One can have nothing to do with control, the other entirely. You really can't work this one out in your head? I'm surprised how many people are not actually answering your question. My answer is, because it has for a long time been socially acceptable to smoke, and even seen as cool sometimes. Being obese has not been socially acceptable for a long time. Being a smoker is not something you are generally insecure about, as opposed to being obese. The obese people are already judging themselves, while most smokers probably don't care or even think they look cool. And as a bonus, smoking instantly affects the people around you. A person being obese doesn't. It feels more justified to judge someone who is physically bothering you, right? Obese people have their own problems to deal with to lose weight, so I'm not going to judge them because it doesn't affect me. But smokers share their problems with everyone else in the room, so their problem becomes my problem, so I'm going to judge them. Someone could be obese and be just beginning their journey of losing weight. It doesn't happen overnight. They also could be obese because of health conditions, medications, just had a baby, tons of reasons that had nothing to do with their self-control. Also, even if they are obese because they eat a lot of food and don't have plans to change their lifestyle, how is it affecting you? Just because it's unattractive to you? Them being bigger doesn't truly affect your day. Meanwhile, people who smoke are sharing that smoke with those around them. It smells bad, and it's unhealthy, and it directly affects your breathing. Someone sitting next to me eating a cheeseburger doesn't affect me. Someone sitting next to me smoking does. If you smoke around me, your smoke stinks. If you're fat around me, maybe my local gravity field would be slightly altered, but I don't see an obnoxious invasion of my personal space. 1. People who smoke without exception chose to smoke at some point. There are a few people who are heavy due to genetics or other reasons. Far fewer than are actually obese, but you never know. 2. Severe eating disorders are a thing. Remember, anorexia and bulimia aren't the only eating disorders. 3. Obesity is far less likely to injure or hurt others. Secondhand smoke is a thing, secondhand fat is not a thing. 4. Obese people are judged. It tends to be, but isn't always, quieter and more reserved. Smoking is a choice. Being obese has many also medical reasons.